So today I'm sitting here with two of my friends who I've known for quite some time. They're both in the nail industry. They have launched or co-launched with others an initiative called Nailing It for America. Started as Nailing It for Healthcare Workers. We'll get into that more here in a little bit. But first, I just want to introduce, first we have Christie Nguyen. Christie is a Cal State Fullerton alum. She, along with her parents, have founded um, Studio 18 Nail Bar in Orange County, California. So technically, she's second generation, although she launched the business with her parents back in 2017. Also with us, we have Tam Nguyen, who, along with his sister Lynn, runs Advanced Beauty College in Garden Grove, California. Tam also is a Cal State Fullerton alum. I met Tam at a Cal State Fullerton event nearly a decade ago. And since then, we've just become very close friends. We've traveled the world together. We've spent a great deal of time together. And their story that you're going to hear today is one that you might see in various parts around the world with this COVID-19 crisis that we're in. But the real meat and potatoes, if you will, of their story is what they're doing with what they've been dealt. As you know, the summit name is the Lemonade Summit. We're talking about how people can take lemons and make lemonade. And I think at the end of the story today, you'll get a really good idea of how Christy and Tam and their colleagues in the nail industry specifically have really taken those lemons and made lemonade. So first of all, Christy and Tam, welcome. It's good to see you both this morning. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having us.
You bet. So Christy, I'd like to start with you and just ask you, how was business for your company, for your mom and dad, for the business right before the whole COVID-19 crisis impacted us?
Business was good. Every month was better than the last. We've been open for 3 years now, and so it's been an amazing journey. We have so many clients that we have such personal relationships with. So we miss that. We miss just being able to be open, but business has always been good until COVID hit. So it's been an obstacle, but something that we can definitely overcome.
And Tam, I know you and I talked a lot, and I followed your progress closely. I was around when you launched your second facility down in Laguna Hills. I know in conversations that we've had on our Vietnam trip, and also just as friends over coffee and tea over the years, I know that you guys were on the verge of expansion. Can you talk a little bit about that, just so we can understand where you guys were before this hit?
Yeah, no, we just came off a record year. The best year, 2019 was our best year in 33 years of our family business, second generation. So business was great, and we had great projections for 2020. We had a great first quarter. In fact, we had identified three beauty colleges in Southern California that we were interested in buying, and the top one we were weeks away from signing the lease as well as the purchase of that beauty college before COVID hit. So. Certainly, our enrollment was going well. The students were extremely eager. We've assembled the best team we've ever assembled in terms of our leadership as well as our educators and staff at Advanced Beauty College. So things were humming along until COVID-19 hit, and certainly that changed everything dramatically because we went from an on-campus learning education platform to now in distance education.
What were your plans on? I know you had plans, Tam, about distance education before this hit. What were those plans, and what did it do to your timing? Obviously, it made it now, but I mean, how long were you planning on taking, and then how long did it take to make that transformation?
We initially had a one-year plan rollout to transition to a distance education. We're awaiting, actually, from the school side, we're ready as a private trade school. It's just we were waiting on regulations. Regulations in our industry are very there's just a lot of them at the state level as well as federal level to switch over to a distance education platform. So we were giving ourselves a year to roll that out. And certainly when COVID hit in mid-March, we actually had to work, our entire leadership team, all 10 of us, we ended up working for 14 days straight, 12-hour days to transition all 400 plus students over to a distance education platform in such a dramatically short time. So it certainly was, it certainly stretched us. We're happy to say after 33 years, we are now a distance education company, nice. But that wasn't the ideal way to transition.
Sure. And I'm assuming you'll be a hybrid when we come back to where you can actually have people in the room again. You'll do both, right?
That is correct. We're in the distance education and using the platforms that we're using now forever. We love it. We've been able to transition. The team loves it. The teachers love it. They didn't love it at first because it took so much of a ramp up, especially in that first 2 weeks after COVID. But here we are 2 months into it, and everyone's adapting to it.
So it forced your hand, but ladies and gentlemen, that is not the taking lemons and making lemonade out of it story that we're getting to, although that is one. Certainly it forced your hand into doing something that you were eventually going to do. Christie, so Tam alluded to mid-March, things were humming along for Advanced Beauty College. You mentioned as well that they were starting to really, not starting, but they're humming along for you as well. Walk me through your process of, uh-oh, COVID-19 is on the horizon. This might impact us. Ooh, this is going to impact us while we're closed. Was it that, or was it just, was it more gradual, or was it more just like a snap of the fingers and one day you're fully functional, the next day you're locking your doors?
It was a combination of both, really. We started seeing our sales decline in December and January. December was a bit odd because that's generally when the holidays are. So that is really one of our busiest months. And then we didn't really connect the dots until probably about February-ish, when we kind of realized that COVID was a serious matter. And come to around the beginning of or mid-May or mid-March, we realized that it was really, really bad. And we had the gut-wrenching conversation with my parents and I. Should we stay open? Should we close? We have families to take care of, which is our employees. And we have to keep our business going as well. But at the end of the day, the health of our clients, the health of our employees, and the health of just us is more important than any business. And so we decided to close on the 16th of March. And then on the 17th of March, there was an executive order. It's for all non-essential businesses to close. And so so that's why I said it's a combination of both. Sure. But we're looking forward to reopening again. We don't know when that's going to be, since we are in phase 3, and phase 3 is going to be months from now, but we don't know how many months.
Sure.
Yeah.
So both of you could have easily done what I'm sure a lot of people around the world have done, and that is just, okay, I'm going to stay home. I'm going to homeschool my kids. I know you both have 3 children. You're very active in their lives. I know you're very active in their lives during the day as well, because I've been in touch with both of you pretty much every day through this. But that's not all you've done. You've now taken this. I'd love to hear, I teed this up by talking about the nailing it for healthcare workers, which is now really nailing it for the world, if you ask my perspective, the work that you guys are doing everywhere. And I'm setting up the tease here a little bit. Either one of you, tell me about your first, I think Ted Nguyen's the one that reached out, or tell me the story of how you heard about this nailing it for healthcare workers and what your initial response was as far as what you could do or couldn't do in getting involved. And then we'll start going into what you've been doing since then. So maybe Tam, I think you heard about it first and then you enrolled, Christie, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So Tam, tell us how you heard about this and how you decided to get involved.
Yeah, first and foremost, I was at home, and obviously it wasn't homeschooling, it was crisis learning for my kids. And as we were in crisis mode, my wife Christine and I were trying to figure it out, and it was hard, right? So not only are we stay at home, and the three young kids are staying at home, and we're trying to work from home and pulling 12-hour days, and then on top of that 3 hours extra of some academics and teaching. It was quite the situation. But obviously we also had a personal situation in our house. My wife, Christine's younger sister, Iris, is an ICU nurse, and she was living with us. And so she then had to go to work, and she realized at work they were going to have some COVID patients. And realizing that, she did something very heroic early on as my sister-in-law and as the favorite aunt to my 3 children. She decided to move out with her coworkers just so that she wouldn't bring COVID home to our family. So when she moved out and she made that move, we certainly kept in touch with her and kept tabs. I also have my closest childhood friend who's an ER charge nurse in a local hospital as well. And then Lynn, my sister, she's married to a physician, and her brother-in-law are also physicians. So we had personal families that were
you went to medical school too, right? You're actually an MD, so I'm sure you have colleagues that you studied with.
I also have an MD myself, so many of my classmates from med school are also currently working in these ERs and ICUs locally in the hospitals here. So this was this hit very close to
Very
home for me.
personal, yeah.
Certainly, my family and my close friends were texting me on a daily basis, and they were sharing how they didn't have enough masks. So that was very heart wrenching for that. In the meantime, all of my nails friends, we own obviously a beauty college that's a leader in nails training, and so obviously all my nails contacts in terms of nail salons and all of our employers who hire our advanced beauty college graduates were sharing that, this is a heart-wrenching time. This is a tough pandemic. We're closed, and there's no, what do we do with rent coming up? We don't know if we're going to qualify for these loans that are coming out, this PPP. In the meantime, we have something of tremendous value, which is the mask and glove that we use. Let's go ahead and just give it to those who need it more. This is a health crisis. We're all in it together. So let's go ahead and give it to our fellow colleagues on the front line. So that's basically what happened there. And certainly that at that point, I was making some phone calls, and I was having conversations early on with our friend Ted Nguyen, and then with Johnny Ngo, and it was hard. And so as we did that, we got together and started forming this initiative to give back and meet the PPE needs. And so that's where we're at. So we've been through this campaign. It's been over a month into it, and it feels, although it's just very trying and challenging times, it feels good that we're doing something to make a difference in providing these PPEs. So we just poured our heart into it. We gave our complete, blood, sweat, and tears. I have to give props to my hero wife. She decided to, again, take on the 3 kids, take on all home duties, and says, honey, this is the moment. You're made for this. Time for you to go out and connect in the community. That's where your skill sets are, and I got this. And then of course, my partner Lynn, who's my sister, who's the co-owner of Advanced Beauty College, says, you're my brother. It's time for you to do what you got to do in the community for the greater good. You know that our tagline and our core values is to inspire, to educate, and to give back. Let me take care of part of that, and you go take care of the other part of that in this tag team. So I had the full support of my wife, full support of my sister, and then of course my mom and dad both called and says, you do whatever you need. You know what? We're fortunate that we're your landlords. You're not going to be paying us rent, it looks like.
Yeah, we'll give you a break on rent for a little bit.
And,
sure.
We're going to give you some rent relief, but it's time for you and Lynn to tag team as brother and sister, and go out and do what you need to do.
That's amazing. Thank you. And I want to come back to you, Tam, in a minute. Christie, take me through, or tell me from your perspective of what you're seeing. I know you're involved on the front lines of this as well, working with these healthcare workers, seeing you at these events, handing out the PPEs, the food, and orchestrating it really from your home for the most part, because you're also teaching your 3 young kids.
Yes.
Just share your feelings about what you guys are doing and what is it doing for you. I know right now business is a worry, and you get back to that, but really let's just take the focus now on, how is this inspiring you? How is this changing you, I guess, is the question.
Gosh, it's changing me in so many ways. Like Tam said, we started this a little over a month ago, and what we've accomplished in 1 month feels like, what we could accomplish in an entire year. Yeah. And we've just compressed it down. We've poured our heart and soul into it. And, on top of that, I'm trying to or teach my kids the crisis learning, just like Tam said.
Yeah, perfect.
And that is definitely, that has definitely posed a challenge in itself. I'm trying to teach 2 kids, and I have a baby as well, and they're all under 6.
Wow.
So, and on top of that, we're trying to create this massive campaign to help people that are definitely in need. What started off with healthcare workers to people that are in need of food, and to homeless shelters. So we've really expanded our network. And so it's, you hear the heart-wrenching stories, and you realize that, what, you really do have it good. Like through any pandemic, through any type of crisis or obstacle in life, you see that silver lining. And, just like with us, we have businesses to run. We have, we have employees to take care of. But, at the end of the day, no matter what obstacle it is, you will always find a way to make lemonade out of lemons, like you said.
Sure.
And so I think the biggest take out of all this is that, no matter how hard things are, there's always a way. And you always have to look at the positive side of things, no matter what is. But you need to have the right people and the right team with you in order to achieve that, because it takes a village.
Yeah, I love that.
Mhm.
Tam, almost every day in our morning text messages, you share with me some way of the same words being, this is a life-defining moment for me.
Yes.
Can you share a story or two with us of that's defining this for you?
Yeah, there are just so many stories. I can't just think of one or two throughout this. But yeah, the first and foremost is as I thank you, Ed, for just being a rock, being a best friend through this, being my morning text. You and Christy have certainly, beyond my wife and children, have and my parents and sister have certainly been family to me through this, and you two have been rocks through this. Just texting me every day, talking with both of you every day has really helped keep my emotions stable and keep my spirits up in this time of pandemic crisis. But I could share with you, just even on some of the things that you've said to me, Ed, it's really helped me just shape my compass. And one is I'm brutally honest with the situation. I know exactly the statistics. I know how many people are dying. I know what the case counts are. I'm very aware of that, not only for Orange County, but for California and the country. I'm following, my dad talks to me from Vietnam every day. I'm following the Vietnam news. I know what's happening in China and South Korea, in countries in Asia that are happening before us. I read all the statistics in Italy and Spain, so staying aware and on top of that. Besides being brutally honest, I thought it was very important to pivot and to, again, when we had this opportunity to work together, Christie's been a shiro to me, and she and our other team members, Hallie's who leads our logistics is a shiro. We have Ted and Johnny who are amazing heroes, all working together as a team in tandem. You know, they say when the going gets tough, the tough get going, and we're part of a tough team. But there's so many heart wrenching stories. I'll just pick one. One story is Ed when you text me one morning halfway through this, and it was one of our kids, one of our students who went with us to Vietnam on the study abroad trip that we went to Vietnam last year, in our travels to the world and teaching these students. When she texted you and we saw that gut wrenching message and saying that her parents are out of work, she has to work two jobs that are both frontline essential at the bank and in a skilled nursing facility, nursing home. She's exposed to COVID, and she doesn't have enough PPEs. And what a terrible situation that our student was in. Obviously, you and I reacted immediately. It was not just me and you, but your wife, as well as our friend Tammy Bui, the vice president over at Cal State Fullerton, to be able to give our student the comfort, the love, as well as the PPE, snacks, and thank you cards. She's turned around dramatically from that situation. And she's been so positive. To think that we helped that one life through this initiative, that I'll never forget that. And that's one of many stories I'll never forget. And we got to experience that together.
Appreciate you sharing that. That's had a major impact on me as well because of Tiffany and her story and everything. We have just a couple of minutes left here. We will have some time for Q&A after this session is over. So for those who are watching this, if you have questions for Christie or for Tam, you'll have opportunities to ask, and hopefully we can encourage a story or two more during that Q&A as well, because I know there's much more we can talk about than 20 minutes or so allows. Christie, let me just ask you, how will you do business differently as a result of what you've learned from this Nailing It for America initiative through this crisis, and what you may be picking up just through osmosis and things that are happening around you?
What I will learn from this is that to teach people to work together as a team even more so. I think that's the biggest way to succeed in life and to succeed as a person. I think and just not taking the little things for granted, to see people and give them a hug, or, just it's simple things like that matter the most in life. And lastly is to always have a core team with you. No matter if it's personally or professionally. So I think those are the top three that I would take out of this.
Excellent, thank you. And Tam, you don't get to replicate Christie's answers because I know you would say the same things. And we talked about this a little bit, but I don't know where you're going to go with it. In the last little bit we have, how will Advanced Beauty College look different? Other than now you're going to be a hybrid of online and in person, like we've already talked about. As you think about a business owner and as a leader or as a father or a business partner, in whatever role you're in right now, how will you be different as a result of this?
Well, so learning from my mentor, one of my mentors, Roger Koch of In and Out, we are no longer in the beauty business. We're not just in education, but we're in the people business. And it's about the team and it's about the people I work with. The solution for COVID-19 we've come up with, and it's called ABC 20. And ABC 20 is the core team led by our teammates. And I'm part of that core team led by teammates, the leadership team at ABC. And what they've done is our word of the year now is pivot. And so they've been able to pivot and prepare. And so because of that, we're opening up in a very sensible way, a very smart way. And so the preparation that we're going to do is all based off of that. It's all going to be based off data, where we're looking at it from a medical and health perspective, looking at the data, being part of the testing, doing the tracing that's needed, as well as looking at the statistics and data from the health perspective, as well as looking at it from a business and economics perspective and lens. We know that with Ken Blanchard, we know that as a small family business, we're able to act on our values. And because of that, we don't have to look at the bottom line. We don't have to look at another statement. We don't have to look at balance sheets to run our business. We get to work on core values, and our family values will lead our business out of this.
Well, I'm excited. I don't want to thank both of you. These have been about probably the fastest 20 minutes of my life. So many more places we could have gone in this conversation, but I just really appreciate your hearts. And I appreciate what you're doing for the community. I've appreciated the opportunity that I've had a couple of times to be out in the community with you, fully protected with gloves and long sleeves and masks and gowns and everything, and doing it all the right way. But I do appreciate that you guys are taking those precautions. You're serving people the right way. Your hearts are in the right place. And you truly are taking these lemons that we've all been dealt around the world and making lemonade out of it. And it's just a sweet thing to watch the two of you and your team go out and just bless the lives of other people. So I appreciate your time. I know our audience here today appreciates your time as well. And we'll open it up for questions at the end of this recording. So Tam and Christie, thank you so much. Stay tuned, folks. There's more to this story. We're just scratching the surface. We could do another couple hours and you'd feel the same energy and passion from Christie and Tam as they share the lives that they're touching and the lives that they're changing. And I think the two most important lives that are changing are your own. That's what I'm seeing, is that what I'm witnessing in the transition in the two of your lives, which were already spectacular and stellar lives, are becoming even stronger. So thank you for that. Thank you for sharing today.
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you, Ed, for being a brother and being part of the Nailing It for America team. Appreciate you.
It's an honor.